The first one is more formal. Main podcast.
Hi. Okay. Wait, what'd you say?
If you do it like that, that's gonna be real interesting.
We be.
Hi, I'm April Chapman.
Oh no, I'm not gonna do it like that.
Standard Truth podcast. You going through in your mind.
Yeah. Oh wait a
We
minute.
gonna Bob. That's it. We're gonna put this behind.
What?
Off the room.
Got the tiny little mic.
I don't have these. Helps a lot.
Those are gonna be permanent,
Now, I
right?
think-
In case
I
you
don't
need to do something else.
If I'm a diabetic or what, but all these bright lights, I can't see a thing. Okay, my eyesight. I mean, I'm seeing flashes of I got glaucoma. Like,
Sounds like a stroke
can
or
you
something.
see? Yeah, I can't see.
Wait, okay. Now when I look at it, yes.
Now you're not as old as I am. So.
Yes, I am. How old am I?
45.
Now this is when we go totally unscripted and uncensored, and we watch April shoot from the hip. We don't know what she's going to say.
I like
That's the
when you
fun
did
part.
Jeopardy.
All right, here we go.
April Chapman, take what?
5, 4, 3.
And there goes the printer.
Hi, I'm April Chapman with the Standardoftruth podcast.
That was a good start.
That's all I got. I need my reason.
But you always think
That's
it's...
my reason.
April Chapman, take 2.
5, 4, 3.
I don't know if you've noticed, but Americans are practically beyond the rate of replacement.
Oh! You were
I
flowing!
want to say too.
You were flowing!
It's so good.
Okay.
It's so good.
You want to say?
Oh my gosh. Do your job, hands.
April Chapman, take 3.
5, 4, 3.
As a Christian, as a wife, and as a mom, I have several reasons why I am not with her. Recognizing the personhood of the child in the womb, that is not something that Margaret Sanger. See? They the same person. You squeaking.
Yeah.
Sit in that chair.
I'm slipping. Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna have to sit
Yeah,
here
bring that.
for different options and be like,
Do your
what
job
you
right,
think?
Hannah.
You told me that. Like you gotta put stuff
Auntie
together.
Chris is on it.
So you gotta think about her outfit
Oh,
for
wait.
tomorrow.
Oh. Yeah, I did record
Oh,
that.
you got that?
Yeah.
I'm clumsy, so you gotta be careful.
Is he ready? You gotta watch Henry because he'll put it in there.
Oh, I saw you fell out that chair.
What's funny?
I tried to kill this bug. It was like 2 in the morning. And I was like, oh, he's so disrespectful. So I got up and I took my shoe off and I went like this. And I don't even believe in this. I felt like somebody pulled me by my feet and was like, no, you're not. I went like this, my feet.
Forward.
Yes! I fell forward on my face, hit the wall, and collapsed. I couldn't move for like 2-3 days. My hip got probably displaced. Oh, it was horrible.
I got the thing, but I'm just saying what is outside.
Sure. This is fine. This is fine. Right here.
Really long blog article that I just drag out. That's how I think of my
So her base is kind of similar with G3 Virgil when you do the article and then you make the podcast based off of yes.
But you've done about 40,000 in the last 6 months, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm at 62. How you talk? Be who you are. Love God, love Jesus, love me, and it's gonna be alright.
Here's the thing, this is
So you don't, if you've never had a dad,
You
and
can't.
you've never seen an example,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're missing.
Exactly.
You don't know the protection that comes from it.
Yes.
And you don't understand
Yeah.
that a matriarchal home
It's
cannot
chaos.
offer you what a man
Chaos.
actually
my
needs.
mother couldn't handle me.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
It really made me angry.
Yeah.
I saw these brothers in there and I said, if I didn't have my father, I'd be in there. Yeah.
So, because I said I don't do any drop shipping. all that merch on my website is stuffed in here in different places.
I call it close.
We all have our own jobs, basically.
Vince Everett Ellison, take one.
Quiet on set.
Tune in.
Here we go. All right. You done?
All right.
Okay, so I have three more people who registered. I forgot to shut down tickets for that. So I got bags, I got mugs. I'm gonna get some candy, but I ain't got no coaster and no coffee. Actually, I got one coffee. That was my coffee.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We got some overlays.
Oh, okay. That you already created. Good.
One with Vince's,
Yes.
headshot.
Yes.
For when he's talking.
Yes.
A light. So we're doing a lot of the post-production stuff live.
Live. Gotcha.
All this stuff down
Yeah.
for real.
Correct.
In the manner that we're gonna undo it.
Yes.
So not the black. Silver.
Also, the black is dirty at the bottom.
Ma'am.
I'm just saying. Girl! It's supposed to be dirty at the bottom.
It's a shoe.
I know.
You don't need black at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. It's...
That goes in my book bag.
Okay.
I got two of these. Everything.
We got the folding chair. Folding chair we have.
We got the folding chair.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, don't close the door on that.
How are they gonna get there?
They have their white card, right? Remember? Close that door. Close that door. Oh.
Yeah, your mom's right here.
Oh, okay.
You're supposed to come and watch our mother movie, but instead, I think I'm gonna take a little detour.
I saw your ticket. I was like, what you wait till the last minute? Welcome to the Standard of Truth podcast, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. Things look a little different. Why? Because we're not in the studio. We are live in living color at the Tap House, the Springs Tap House Cinema. And we are recording, and I have a wonderful guest with me today. We are premiering his film, Will You Go to Hell for Me? I have invited all of you here to take part in a screening of a film that from the moment that I watched it, I was like, this is a game changer. So without further ado, we are going to share our presentation tonight of Will You Go to Hell for Me? And just so you know, I'm not going to hell for none of y'all.
Was the Iron Triangle, it was the black preacher, the black politician, the black civic organizer, and the Democrat Party. They've always been your enemy. Don't you ever forget it.
It has been a riveting evening. We just finished premiering Vince Everett Ellison's film, Will You Go to Hell for Me?
They wouldn't tell you the full story. We all knew abortion was wrong, but they didn't tell us the Democratic Party was supporting it.
If you watch my show, I don't hold back. I don't shirk back
from exposing the pulpit pimps, right? The godless goons, the bishop of brimstone, the popes of perdition. You name them, I'm gonna call you by name, and I'm not afraid.
Watching Tucker Carlson one night, and I heard a voice come across the screen saying, "Wake up!"
This was amazing. This was such an eye-opening experience.
A lot of information that I heard tonight I did not hear before.
One thing that stood out to me today was being a female under 30. I got a clearer understanding of the history of the Democratic Party.
Nobody's telling you to be a Democrat or Republican, but what we are telling you is be godlike.
Vince, thank you for coming.
I want to thank you
Thank you
for doing this. It has been an honor of my life to spend time with you and your family and be on your podcast. I wish I could share my experience with April and her friends and her family last night. One of the highlights of my life, y'all. Just awesome. The food was good, the atmosphere was good, the company was good. And these are beautiful people, and April is a star. And I'm just happy to just be able to bask in her glory.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, you guys, grace and peace. Thank you, Vince. Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to the Standard of Truth podcast, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I have missed y'all. Come on, give me love, give me love, give me love. Grace and peace, y'all. It seems like it has. It's been like forever. I know. I didn't live stream last week. Y'all, I was on the road working. Just trying to grow this channel and branch out and do other things. And it is virtually impossible to do a live show when you're not home. Like, that's where your studio is. But y'all, I wasn't off goofing off. I was not goofing off. I was working. And I'm not claiming to be like Jesus, who said, I'm working even as my Father's working, but I do work a lot. What you guys just finished watching was a compilation production that my good friend Henry Hollywood Morris put together, just kind of detailing the journey of what the Standard of Truth podcast has been on the past 2 months. We are, I've met some amazing people who helped me not just create great content, but we are just sharing on this journey together, utilizing our gifts, talents, and abilities to the glory of God and to just add value and change people's lives. And so I wanted to show you guys that, because I did post it earlier in the week. I think I posted it. Did I post that Saturday? I don't remember when I posted it, but I wanted you guys to see it so you can get an idea of behind the scenes, just what life is like, working with me and me being a mom and a wife and a content creator. So I just wanted to share that little piece with you guys in case you didn't see it. That was the weekend of the Will You Go to Hell For Me premiere that I sponsored here in Atlanta. And y'all, that is not even my film, but that film, if you've not watched it yet, it really changed my life. It opened up my eyes to so many things that were just right there in front of you or in front of me. But to have someone articulate in a documentary style, storytelling style, come on, let me sit you down, sis, and just school you on some things, it just changed the game for me. And so I have just latched onto the film and just formulated an amazing friendship with the filmmaker, Vince Everett Ellison, who you saw featured in the footage from that entire weekend. And so I want to just take a few moments. I want to thank some people because I could not pull this off by myself. So as you can see, Henry Hollywood Morris. Henry, if you are watching, Chrisita, his beautiful wife, if y'all are watching, I just want to tell you guys from the bottom of my heart, y'all are my people, and I love you dearly. The sacrifices and just everything that you've done on the front end and on the back end, and what you continue to do to just help me to bring this vision to pass. It's just been so amazing. So I wanted to go ahead and thank y'all. Love y'all to life. You also saw featured in that my bestie Keisha Moore and her husband Dwayne. Dwayne, he's the one at the table preaching. He's not a preacher, but that's just, Dwayne is so full of wisdom, and that is my big brother from another mother, and I love those two to life. I really do. So I wanted to thank Keisha. The Lord has placed Keisha in my life to just be, to play so many roles, but she is truly that Titus 2 woman that I believe all women need in their life, to love on them and hold them accountable, but not just that, to encourage you and to push you to just reach your greatest potential in the Lord. So thank you, Keisha, for being my sister, and for my brother Dwayne. Whenever I need those two, it doesn't matter what it is, y'all. The weekend of that screening, my car ran hot and broke down, and Dwayne was just like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll just drive the pickup truck to the house, and y'all just keep it until you get your car out the shop. And I was like, what? Like, our family is so used to just being by ourselves and having to figure things out, that when the Lord places individuals in your life who they don't want nothing from you, they're just like, well, no, you need this. Let us love on you in this way. Sometimes it's just a little overwhelming. So literally the day of the event, our family rode in the spare vehicle of Keisha and Dwayne Moore because they just loved us that much. And we kept that car for an entire week. So I just love them dearly. I want to thank my own family, right? You can't forget the Chapmans, the family that plays together, stays together, prays together, worships together, works together. We work hard and we play hard. And so I was so thankful for my husband and the Chapman kids, who, you raise these little people, and, they have, personalities like you, and then personalities like your spouse, and it all comes together, and you realize that you either don't like yourself, or you may not like certain aspects of your spouse that much, but you don't have a choice because, that's you. Those are our kids. And so I just want to thank the Chapman kids. We had Isaiah on camera work. He was very integral in capturing a lot of that footage. And he was my chief production engineer on the day of the event, who captured the entire podcast that we recorded before and the one after. And so I had Hannah on wardrobe, and Haley was just the go-to girl, whatever we needed. And Brandon did what he always does, negotiates his way out of work. But he did add value by being on camera number 2. So I just want to thank my family and my husband, who's always sacrificing and just giving it his all, just so that I can do what I'm doing. So thank you. Shanice, my bestie, my other bestie, Shanice and Earl Lewis, I wanted to thank them, and my entire church family, you guys. There's so much that goes into not just this podcast, but the show that we're trying to take on the road, that you guys don't realize. A lot of the speaking and the coaching and just me improving my content, those are people at my church that have been pouring into me and just giving me tips and pointers and telling me, that was a great show. Here's what you can do a little different. It's just my church family. My church family is those are my people. Okay, those are my people. So I love y'all, and it's just been an amazing journey. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And nope, you didn't miss much. I'm just out here running my mouth. K-Town, welcome to the live chat. I have missed you guys. It's been a very, 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 feels like a very long time since I went live. But I wanted to fill you in, you guys, on what was going on. I was out of town. I was in Virginia. working and consulting and just trying to grow this media empire that powers this podcast, which is Standard House Media. That is my company. And if you didn't notice, I actually recorded a live podcast with my brother in the Lord, Vince Everett Ellison, and we're going to actually do an encore presentation of that tonight. If you didn't get to see that interview, we were cutting up in the studio. So first of all, I want to shout out to Woody. Woody is the brains behind the Vince Everett Ellison show. Now Vince is the talent. Vince is the talent. He knows I love him like a fat kid loves cake, but it is Woody behind the scenes that makes the magic happen. And so Woody is with Media Squatch, an amazing media production company in Virginia. And I got to attend and go to that studio and record, and it was just an amazing experience. And so, oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much, K-Town, for your encouragement. I appreciate that. So what we're gonna do, tonight's show is a little different. I'm gonna do some talking, but I'm not gonna do a whole lot of talking. What I wanna do is I wanna show you guys the interview that I did. I literally recorded that yesterday and then hopped my behind on a plane. Y'all, I didn't get home until 1 a.m. this morning. 1 a.m. My flight, I had a layover in Charlotte, and there was some sort of malfunction, maintenance issue with the plane, and they had to take that plane back to the hangar. So I couldn't get on that plane, and it was already late. This was like at 9 something, and so I didn't fly out of Charlotte till like 11 something last night, and by the time I got home, it was like 1 a.m. On top of the fact we've had a biolab explosion literally in my hometown, on top of we were recovering from the aftermath of the hurricane. So I missed a lot while I was gone. And so I'm here now, and so I'm just trying to catch you up. Thank you, Sister Sonia. How are you this evening, beautiful? She says, I love you, April, John, and Crystal Amanchukwu. Yes, while in Albuquerque, New Mexico this weekend, I told her I knew you, and she told me that you were going to be at their church. Yes, blessing to you. All the best. I sure am. I sure am. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday, the 13th, I will be in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'll be in the house at Upper Room Church of God in Christ. Now, we've had a little change of plans. Y'all, I was planning to go to the 11 o'clock service, but I have a scheduling conflict later that day that is not going to allow me to make the 11 a.m. So we got to do the 8 a.m., y'all. We got to get up at the crack of crap to go worship. 8 o'clock is early, okay? Like literally, I can't remember the last time I had to be somewhere at 8, let alone wake up at 8. So this is going... It's going to be special, but I'm going to do it. We're going to go and worship at the 8 a.m. service. And so, you know, we'll probably, if you're not used to being at the 8 a.m. service at Upper Room, me neither, but we're going to be there. Let me see, who's going to be in the house? There's going to be a whole crew of us. Like it's going to be a whole crew of me and my people. We're going to be at Upper Room on Sunday the 13th. So if you are in the Raleigh, Durham, North Carolina area, come through. Let's worship the Lord together. And it's going to be an amazing time. So am I going to watch the VP debate? I'm hoping I can get up on out of here in time so that I can Atlanta since 82. I think that I will. But thank you, Sister Sonia, for your super chat this evening. I absolutely love it. Oh, no, it's fine. I knew who you were talking about. Girl, listen, it ain't like every day you meet somebody with the last name Amanchukwu. I remember when I jacked his name up so bad, but he has an amazing sense of humor, so he did not take it personal. But without further ado, if you guys have not seen the interview that I did with Vince, it's quite entertaining. Y'all, Vince ain't got good sense. You know, you meet somebody, you be like, oh, he was raised wrong. I'm laughing because he'll actually say that. He will actually tell you he was raised wrong. And it's not that I believe that. It's just he ain't got good sense. So anyway, I'm about to go ahead and show you guys that interview. Then I'm going to come back to the live stream, and we'll just go over a few current events, and then we will go ahead and close out the show. So here you go.
Today, on the Best Ever Ellison Show, I have my first guest. It is the best guest anybody could have. It is the queen of Atlanta and the host of the Standard of Truth podcast, Miss April Chapman. Stay with me. Tune into this great conversation today on the Best Ever Ellison Show. All right, let's get this thing started.
What was that?
April, are you ready?
I'm ready. You broke something.
What did I break? Get the break in.
I don't know, it's like a nut or something that fell on the floor. I don't know what that is.
It's okay.
Vince, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm excited to be here.
Thank
right? I'm in Virginia.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
It is beautiful, and you have this great podcast, Standard of Truth. It's one of the I don't know. I started watching it years ago. Well, a couple of years ago. You started it when?
2022, early 2022.
Yeah. And I became a fan.
Thank you.
You hit politics kind of from where I hit it, from the Christian point of view.
Right.
What provoked you? What enticed you to start doing this podcast and putting this type of information out there?
Well, I actually started on Facebook, right? Started on Facebook, just putting my thoughts out into the internet and talking with friends. And they were just saying, you have all these strong opinions about politics. And I was kind of getting involved in politics from a conservative perspective. And then when Trump started running, there was just all this energy surrounding conservatism, but specifically from a Black perspective. I didn't grow up knowing anything about what a conservative was. And so now that I'm embracing these ideas, it just seemed like a natural flow. My conservatism flows from my biblical worldview.
Right.
And so I was already mulling over these moral issues and these social issues from a biblical perspective. So to discuss politics was very natural to me. And I don't know. I just turned on the camera one day and just let it rip.
Well, your show is doing great. I mean, it's really, it's expanded 3 or 4 times this year?
It has. I think I'm hovering around 71,000.
Now,
so to God be the glory for that.
When I came on your show this past May.
Yes.
Where were you? About maybe 20?
I have no idea. Probably.
About 20,
between 20 or 23,000.
And after that, you...
Yes.
So from my point of view, your show was at 20,000 before me, 70,000 after me, which means, ergo, your show became a success after I appeared on your show.
I mean, anything is possible. You are the Vince Everett Ellison. You've been on Tucker, and I haven't.
Yeah.
So, but I still got more subs than you.
But you said you give me credit for your show exploding this year,
I did not say that.
Your show was at 20,000, and I got it and went to 70.
Okay, for the record, the show has exploded since Vince was on the channel. So we will attribute its growth to his presence and his mouth, maybe his mouth. I don't know. But no, you've been a great friend. And I think the collaboration between the two of us was a natural fit.
Yeah.
Because you are you say a lot of the things that I already say from a male perspective, and then I kind of come in from the female perspective, and then together it just creates like this magic thing, and I think it resonates with people.
Well, we're gonna deal with the elephant in the room right now.
Which is?
Okay, I met your husband, Robert. Great guy, handsome guy, great dad. Children are great.
Thank you.
With all that going on, what's this thing you got going on with Roland Martin? I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out. I mean, I can understand Roland is tall. He's got a head full of hair. He's handsome. He look like he stay in the gym all the time. So I can understand how Roland might be some competition for Robert. I can understand that. But what's this thing you got for Roland Martin? I'm just, I'm trying to figure this thing out.
You know what? That's funny that you bring that up. So what he's referring to is this feud that you started. You started this drama. I don't even think
Roland started it.
Okay, you're right. Roland we were minding our business, right? And just making our content.
No, you started. You brought me down to Atlanta.
Okay,
and that started.
That is what happened. We did the screening in Atlanta, and somehow the trailer, he got wind of the trailer. Shared the trailer. Appreciate you. Right. Appreciate you. He shared the trailer, got a lot of eyes on it. And the last thing, he should have never done this, was he called Tucker a white supremacist, and then he said that you were a enemy to black people.
Yeah.
And so that triggered me.
Mm.
And so when I'm triggered, I turn on the camera, and I had issues with it because, as you know, I don't know if your audience knows, I despise lefticals. I love them with the love of Jesus, but I despise I call them lefticals, the worldview that they espouse. And to see people that look like me under this oppressive spell of victimization, and you claim to be so pro-black, but yet you support all of these policies that do not contribute to the flourishing of the black community.
Right.
You just look like a fool to me.
And Roland is one of those lefticals.
Right, he's one of those lefticals.
Yeah.
Very effeminate, and I just thought it was funny because you and I had just talked not too long before that. You had issued a challenge to him to debate you.
Right.
And Patrick Bet David was going to moderate that. And you heard from him.
No, I ain't heard from him
we
yet.
Still ain't heard
No.
from Roland. And so
you called him Rolando, didn't you?
I did. I called him Rolando. And that's just a little pet name, nothing serious, but I don't have a thing for Roland. I have issues with his worldview and his rhetoric and his ideology that he knows it is not helpful or good for the black community, but he's paid to say the things that he says. And so it is time, I think, for conservatives we're owning our voice now, and we're fighting back.
Right.
Figuratively,
right.
Of course.
Figuratively.
We are fighting back, and I guess they're just used to a certain brand of conservatism where we kind of just cower in the corner.
Right, like they used to do.
No, that's not us.
No,
that's
no,
not
no.
us.
Well, look, all right. From my experience in the black community, light-skinned, pretty black women used to stick together and make a fist and knock out anybody that mess with one of them.
Really?
You kind of going against the grain on that because you and Kamala Harris has kind of got a war going on. Y'all two light-skinned black women in the black community just fighting right now. And I'm understanding where the sisterhood at. Where'd the sisterhood go? Where did the, ride or die sisterhood go between you and Kamala? You know what I mean?
There needs to be some clarification.
Yeah.
There's only one of us that are black. That's a black, right? That would be me. Okay, I am what you would consider a foundation.
Hold it.
What?
You trying to say Kamala Harris ain't black?
No, she ain't black. You know she not black. If she's black, then my last name is Patel. You know she ain't black. They're trying to sell us as if she is. And to be fair, as a Christian, I don't want to minimize, ethnicity is just this expression of God's glory, right? The way he's chosen to give each of us these different shades of melanin. I don't want people to think that, I feel some sort of kind of way about Kamala because she's pretending to be. Now, I do feel a sort of kind of way because she is pretending, but even if she was, this foundational black American woman, it still does not, it's not enough. It's not enough. I struggle with the ideology. I struggle with why is it that every time they want to elevate one of us to say, this is your queen or this is your king, they have to represent the worst things of society. And so for me, that's my issue. It's ideology. It is worldview. No, I do not believe she is a black woman. Candace Owens, I think, has done an amazing job of exposing, the questionable lineage with Kamala. And it's not that it matters because it demonstrates that she's willing to lie. She's willing to hide her own identity for political expediency. And I'm just like, why can't we know? Like, if your mama, your grandmama and them is Irish, just let them be Irish.
Yeah, but you keep calling her Kamala, and Michael Eric Dyson will come deal with you.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
I'm just telling you. He said you call her Kamala. You are racist and you disrespectful. And that's what he said. I didn't say it. Don't be looking at me side eye. He said
called me Rachel.
I think he called her Kamala. You calling her Kamala. And Michael Eric Dyson said, Michael Eric Dyson said, if you call her Kamala, you are a racist.
Right.
And what else he say?
I don't know.
But it was ignorant. But
whatever it was, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. He's irrelevant.
You could whoop him in a fist fight, you think?
No, I
Michael
don't.
Eric, I'm just beat the hell out of Michael Eric
I'm
Dyson.
a lady. I'm not about to fight a man. Now I whip up on him with some words.
No. You just knock the hell out of Michael Eric Dyson. Just beat the. I'd love to have it on film.
No,
Yeah,
I'd like to see you debate Michael Eric Dyson.
I'm talking about. Yeah, well, Michael Eric Dyson ain't gonna debate me.
No, neither will Roland. So right now, here's the list. We've got Roland, no debate. Michael Eric Dyson.
No.
I mean, I can't reach out to his people.
Please do.
Yeah, that would be a good debate, I think.
It wouldn't even be a good debate. I'd beat him so bad, his daddy would disown him.
To the white meat?
To the white meat. He don't want to cook. Look, he a preacher talking about killing babies.
He's not a
preacher. He a preacher talking about men can marry men, women can marry women.
Right.
He's a preacher want to lock children in failing schools that will not allow them to even pray to their God.
Right.
They're allowing drag queens in, pushing God out, putting porn into the library, taking the Bible out. He support that.
He does.
He wants to walk around having black people beg the government when black Christians, where Jesus Christ said, I've ordained it for you. Nobody can stop it. So why are we asking the government for it when it's been preordained by Christ? This is why these people, to me, and just like what you call them, what do you call a lot of these black pastors now?
Godless goons, popes of perdition.
That brings up Jamal Bryant. What's this thing you got against Jamal Bryant?
Jamal is the gift that keeps on giving. He's the gift that keeps on giving. I also call him the wolf that keeps on woofing. Right? So as you know, Jamal Bryant is a local pastor in Metro Atlanta.
He took the place of
Bishop Eddie Long.
Bishop Eddie Long, right, at Newburgh.
They went and recruited.
They recruited him out of Baltimore.
Jamal Bryant out of Baltimore, who already had a sketchy, sexual history with being a whoremonger.
He had a few baby mamas in the congregation and stuff like that.
I think he had 2 baby mamas out up in Baltimore.
He also had a Rolls Royce or something, didn't he?
I don't know what he drives. It's irrelevant for me. So aside from the doctrinal problems that I have with Jamal, in the sense that he doesn't preach the biblical gospel of Christ, he preaches a hybrid form of black liberation theology coupled with prosperity. It's like a hybrid of just bad doctrine.
He dresses good, though.
No, I am not a fan of his fashion choices. Now he does have a very robust vocabulary, but that's probably about the nicest thing that I can say about Jamal Bryant. He has a robust vocabulary. But my issues with Jamal are 1, theological, and then 2, ideological. Because he presents himself as a social justice warrior and a pastor. Yeah. But he is not doing what scripture commands, is shepherd the flock of God.
What's wrong with him growing weed on church property?
Do we need to have a discussion about that?
I just, he want to get the people high.
He tried to distance himself from saying that. And see, that's the
thing. We
got
him on film saying it.
We do. I actually did a video about that. In his mind, that made sense. That was a viable entrepreneurial endeavor for the young men in his congregation, in his mind. And it wasn't until he got pushed back that he was tried to distance himself from those statements. But it just lets you, it gives you insight into the mind of this man. It is perverse.
Well, Kamala Harris smoked blunts.
Yes, and he supports her.
Snoop smoked blunts.
Right, but he is supposed to be a pastor. He is supposed to be a pastor, a preacher of the word, someone who is supposed to be a steward, a shepherd over God's people. But as scripture tells us, you're going to always have false teachers like a Jamal Bryant. Why? Because he's preaching a message that is the itching ears of the people who want to hear that. They don't want God. They don't want to submit to his lordship. And so, unfortunately, we're going to have Jamal Bryant's. And how we deal with them is that we expose the unfruitful deeds of darkness. And we warn people. Like the book of Jude says, snatch some out. It says, have mercy on those who doubt, and then snatch others out of the fire.
Because he was also up there, and a lot of these black ministers, and you and I kind of agree on this.
Right.
That there's some that are very good.
Yes.
Bishop Wooden.
Yes.
Some that are very, very good. Yeah. Alton Williams.
I don't know much about him yet, but
then most of them have just gone completely off the rails. And whatever the Democratic Party tells them to do, they do. Mm-hmm. What's this guy in Atlanta that married the dude in the church, the OC?
Oh, Bishop O.C. Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, all of these individuals are.
OC married a dude, right?
No, he's married to a man.
Yeah.
Yes. I like. You probably were one of the first people that I heard articulate in print how the ethnic expression of the Black church is overwhelmingly apostate. And when I read that in your book and I heard you say that, I was like, that's it. Because for so long, and then you also articulate in your book, obviously, and I was happy to hear you echo this sentiment, that there is no such thing as the Black church.
Exactly. Correct.
And so if you notice the language that I use, I always say the ethnic expression of the Black church, which is different. And I know it sounds like semantics, but there is a difference. There's the Church of Jesus Christ, which is made up of all people, every tribe, tongue, nation, and people group. But then there's this amalgamation called the Black church, which is an apostate perversion of the ethnic expression of a Black church, which is a church that is faithful, that is comprised of mostly Black people. But I was so blessed when I read your book and I saw you articulate this with such clarity, because I was like, this is what I've been saying.
Right. Yeah.
And I get a lot of blowback where people's just like, oh, it's just self-hatred. You hate your people. I'm like, no, it's not that. But the average Black church is preaching a false gospel. Now, I'm not saying that there are not white churches that don't do the same thing too. They are. They're plentiful. But I think you and I were talking the other day, and you said that America in general is dying.
Yes, it is.
America is dying. But then you said, particularly the Black community, we are dying.
Yes.
And we're in a worse state than the macro.
Yeah, we're in the critical state.
Right. You said that we're in a critical state. So that when we say the things that we are saying, it is not to the exclusion of other people groups who are down bad.
Right.
But you were saying that we're in crisis mode with us. And so that's why our messaging for the most part seems to harp so much on the Black community, because the state that we are in.
Yeah. And, tree is known by the fruit it bears, right?
Yes.
And when you look at the Black community and you see that the Black church is dying,
right.
and it started after the Civil Rights Movement. You talk about my book, and I go back to the Marxism, how it infiltrated the Civil Rights Movement, brought it into the church.
Right.
And now the church became so political, it became apostate. That even now you got Black pastors standing up supporting LGBTQ.
Yeah.
This is sex outside of marriage.
Yeah.
It's just basically what it is. And everybody knows fornication is against the laws of God.
Correct.
They're supporting abortion up to the 9th month.
Right.
They're supporting the abortion pill that's basically, as you talked about, the young lady that died from taking it.
Yes.
What was her name?
Amber Tillman.
Yes. And these guys are up here because the Democratic Party has given them their marching orders.
Right.
That this is what we're doing. Get on board. We've been paying you for the last 50 years. I hope you try to buck. I hope you do.
Right.
And they are taking tons of money. And we've talked about how when they say that, these elections are on the up and up, we say you go into the Black community.
Right.
Street money, souls to the polls, ballot harvesting.
You call it what? Chicken, a pork chop?
But a ball of liquor and a pork chop sandwich. It's been that way for the last 100 years. And it hasn't changed.
Right.
Street money is part of what they do. You go to any inner city on election day, they're handing out money, they're handing out cards of how you're supposed to vote. Right. It is a machine. And I remember on election night, I was calling this. I said, watch any inner city area when you look at these states. Everybody else is going to have their numbers in around about 11 o'clock. Right. And then you're going to look at
Fulton County,
you're going to look at Detroit, you're going to look at Milwaukee, and you'll see them at 10, 11%. Because they're going to say, where are you? And we will fill in the difference here. And they always do.
You're not supposed to say that. Right?
Oh,
that's not happening.
That's what
everything is fine.
And I remember election night, I saw Fulton County about 11 o'clock. I said, look, they're 11%.
There you go.
And everybody else at 99. And I said, they're going to make up the difference in Fulton County. If they even have to print the ballots, they're going to do it because that's what they do.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Yeah, allegedly, it's what they do. But anyway, tell me.
You have to say that.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Of course, the Democratic Party has never stolen an election.
Not at all.
The Civil Rights Movement, the 1965 Voting Rights Act, had nothing to do with them stealing elections. It had nothing to do.
Those are lies.
Nothing to do with intimidation, the Ku Klux Klan killing you, and all this stuff. Nothing to do with all of the literacy tests and all of the poll taxes. Nothing to do with it. Running people off their plantations if they register. It had nothing to do with it. NAACP didn't have to come down and register nobody. Yeah, right. All right. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your origin story.
Well,
Where did April Chapman come from and how did she start?
My mom and my daddy.
Your mom and your dad.
Seriously. Well, okay, so born and raised in New York City, the Bronx to be specific, the Boogie Down Bronx. Very urban, you know, concrete jungle. And my parents were married for about 10 years before I came along. And then I became a product of divorce. So another broken home. And my dad is deceased. But I grew up single mom, you know, working hard, latchkey kid, Generation X. So, you know, we raised ourselves. Actually, you're an honorary member of Gen X. We're gonna let you win. We're gonna let you win
I
because
appreciate
cool.
that.
You right on the tail end.
Thank you so very much.
But I was always just really focused on education and academics. It was like an outlet for me, you know, growing up in New York City during the crack era. When you're walking to school and you see crack vials. I knew what a crack vial was.
That was that time.
Probably before I could add fractions. So you see crack vials, you see, you know, lots of prostitution. You see lots of gun violence, and this is before Giuliani came in. Right. This is during Mayor Koch, Mayor Dinkins.
They were talking about putting a fence around New York City, just making a big prison out of it.
Right. It was just really bad. Yeah. And so I had just decided very early on, I was like, I got to get the heck out of here. But I didn't know what that path would look like until middle school.
So early on, like 10, 11 years old?
Yes, I can't stand New York.
Wow.
Love y'all, but I don't like New York City. I just never felt like I fit there. And so, speaking of school choice, my mother was a proponent of school choice before school choice was a thing. Because our neighborhood schools were not that good. And so my mother was like, well, I want to put you in a better school. And so for middle school, I went to a performing arts middle school in Spanish Harlem. So that means at 12 years old.
Like Fame School?
Yes. At 12 years old, I have to take a bus and a train just to get to school.
12?
12. Yes.
My goodness.
But it was an amazing experience because I was exposed. I was in a very closed environment that sheltered us from all the grit and the grime and the crime of New York City. And I was just allowed to focus on being educated. And that's what sparked an opportunity for me to go to boarding school. So for high school, I went to boarding school. As a matter of fact, we are in the state of Virginia. I spent 3 years of my life at St. Catherine's School in Richmond, Virginia.
So you were actually at a boarding school?
Yes, I lived there.
Where you stayed there how many days out of the week?
Every day.
And you went home on?
I only went home Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break, and then the summer.
How you like it?
I loved it.
Really?
Best experience of my life. Yes.
You are the only black person I ever met that went to boarding school.
There are lots of us, kind of, sort of, not really.
How many were there?
That were boarders? Okay, me.
You just made my
5,
point. Yes,
yeah, so it was a predominantly white school, very affluent. You know, I realized going to St. Catherine's that I'm a little academically behind.
But did you get there on a scholarship?
Yes,
Wow.
I got there on a scholarship.
Wow.
I tested in, got there on a scholarship, but then now once you get there, you got to compete and you got to perform.
Right.
And that was very difficult for me coming from New York City public schools. You know, these girls are reading the Iliad and the Odyssey. And I'm like, who? I didn't.
You had a curve, you had to catch up.
Yes, I had to catch up. Got my first D in modern European history. And back then, I was very pro-blacky black. Right. I was very pro-blacky black back then because I was educated in the Marxist indoctrination system of New York City public schools.
Oh, yes.
So quite naturally, I'm in this environment where I am being educated with some of the smartest, brightest, most affluent people, and yet I'm still espousing this victim mentality. And then I started.
Doesn't work there, does it?
It didn't work. It didn't work. And then fast forward out of high school, I attend Spelman College because now I'm like, okay, I've been around all these white folks, yay! But I want to be around my people. So I chose to go to an HBCU, come down to Atlanta to go to Spelman, and was exposed to, I would say, the inverse of what had been experiencing in high school. Lots of affluent Black people were in Atlanta.
The boule?
And they were doing well.
Boule?
Some of them probably were, but that's when it hit me. I was like, wait a minute. There's no victim mentality here. I was like, these people are running corporations and running their own businesses and just doing well. And so that's when I, was exposed to entrepreneurship and things like that. But my journey to conservatism started, several life events happened to me. One, I got married, I became a mom, I became a small business owner, and then I became a Christian. Literally in that order.
Wow.
Those 4 life events is what sealed it for me to help me realize that liberalism was not working for me.
Opens your eyes, doesn't it?
Feminism was not working for me. I grew up in a family of feminists. I know what it's like to live under matriarchal squalor, which is this term that I've ascribed to a heavy matriarchal, just mama and big mama and grandmama and them is running everything and there are no men around.
Running the men out.
I had never seen a healthy marriage before, a man and a woman staying together in a bona fide state of marriage and then having children. That was foreign to me. My sister and I are the only ones in our family that have been married to the same man for a long time. She's got 42 years in with the same man, and I've got almost 17.
Congratulations.
That's new for us.
Yes.
But I attribute feminism and pardon my language, 3 generations of bastards raising bastards. My sister and I wanted to do something about that.
You broke the generational curse.
We did.
Yes.
We did. But to do that required humility.
Yes.
It required, you needed to be, I would say, broken to realize that I don't have it all figured out. I am not equipped to lead, or should I say that God has established certain roles between men and women, and that healthy societies function best when the family is intact.
Now, see, it's interesting because you're one of the few, and this is one of the things that caught my attention about your show. Okay. And when you called and asked me to come down to Atlanta to sit with you while you preview my movie, I happily accepted.
Thank you.
And then I had the opportunity to come to your home and see your children, your family, your friends, your beautiful house. And I said, you have the credibility to talk on these issues. The things that you've just said in many Black churches and many feminist and liberal and Marxist societies would make their heads explode.
Right.
But because you're an educated, successful Black woman that can articulate it and defend it, this is why your channel is exploding. People know it's truth, but people also recognize the bravery that it takes for you to say it. And you say it not just bravely, but you say it with conviction.
It's funny that you call that bravery, though. That's just my lived experience. I never looked at it as, oh, you need to be brave and talk about these things. Right. I was just expressing through my experience, knowing what it's like to live with no man around to provide order and structure and discipline, and then being on this side saying my life would be vastly different. My children's life would be vastly different if family wasn't the cornerstone with God at the helm, right? And then a natural order where the woman is submitting to the man, and then the children come up under that. It is a safety. It is a shelter that insulates your children and your home from what's going on out there in the culture that is telling them the opposite. That's telling them that 2 mommies are okay, or 2 daddies are okay, or you don't need a man. You can have it all by yourself. Those are lies that so many women in my generation listened to. And many of them did not realize that they were lied to until it was too little too late.
Why do they press these lies? They look at the stats. They know what's going on. They know that we got 5 times more men in prison. They know that the 80% of black children are being born out of wedlock.
Right.
They know that that we are in American society, we're at the lowest realm of anybody when it comes down to how much money we make, how many homes we own. We're the top of everything bad, bottom of everything good. They know it. They know that our schools are terrible, the worst schools in the industrialized world. They know it.
Right.
Then why don't they change this? Why don't they keep it going? Like you just said, there is data and evidence that shows that what you're talking about works. They know it works, but they fight against it. Why would they do such a thing? And plus, they know America's dying.
Right.
That our birth rate is at 1.6%. It has to be at 2.1 for us to replace ourselves.
That's very scary.
They know that. And then they press the abortion pill. They press gay marriage.
Yes.
They press LGBTQ. They push all of this stuff knowing that the nation is dying because of this. Why would they do such a thing in your opinion?
And when you say they, who are you referring to?
The people in power, the people over the black community, the people that are in charge of it. You know, I call them the Iron Triangle.
Right.
Most black preachers, most black politicians, and most black civil rights workers. You call it the Afrostocracy?
The Afrostocracy, right.
Who are?
Those are your politicians, your preachers, your pundits, your performers, and your professors. Those are the 5 Ps that govern and gatekeep within the black community to push the very things that you're saying.
Sure.
They do it, obviously, there's a money component involved with it. You know, if someone will pay you to echo certain talking points and you're looking at it as, well, I got to take care of me and mine. Paying? Obviously, I think this is Democrat money.
Yeah, white liberals, right?
White liberals and black Jerome Crow Negroes.
Jerome Crow?
Jerome Crow.
Who's Jerome Crow?
Jerome Crow is Jim Crow in blackface. Jim Crow and blackface. So just think, if you think about the Jim Crow system, the subjugation, oppression, bullying tactics, Jerome Crow is just black people who are doing that. Think of Joy Reid, Roland Martin, right? Think of Michael Eric Dyson, Al Sharpton, Ben Crump. All of those are Jerome, your boy, Clyburn.
Oh, yeah.
That's a Jerome Crow Negro. Absolutely, where they are affluent. They have money. They have resources. But what they want to do is shame you for daring to think different. They will shame you for daring to embrace conservative values, even though they know. First of all, they know conservative women are way more attractive than liberal women.
Oh, yes.
Gosh, I'm sorry. It's something about like the armpit hair, right? The pink hair, the conservative women are just better.
Yes,
we
they
just
are.
are.
I agree.
But
here. Here.
Right, see? But they, who would you rather? You want to deal with a Joy Reid, right? Do you really want to deal with a Joy Reid? Or, I'm just saying, somebody like me.
Well,
Take your pick. No one's going to vote for that. No one's going to be like, yes, give me more Trump hair Joy. No one's advocating for that. But to answer your question, they do it because there's a financial incentive for them to do that. They win. Selling out their own people for selfish gain.
Yes.
Then I would also argue that there is a spiritual component to it. If you think about, and there's a spiritual component to it, and then the social component to it. These are the ones that are controlling the media. So if you fail to have what I call a biblical worldview, one that's grounded by an objective standard of truth, when you hear this messaging coming across your airwaves and you don't have a biblical worldview, you will be tossed to and fro.
You sure will.
Right? Every wind of doctrine. You have nothing to ground you in an objective standard to be like, wait a minute. I read my scriptures, and my scriptures say that you a lie. You sound crazy. No, a girl is a girl and a boy is a boy. And the family is the foundation. I mean, the church is patterned after the marriage between Christ and his church. We're his bride. He's the groom. Like all of these motifs and messages that a biblical worldview would teach you, it becomes instinctive you see how it's played out in the real world. And then you're like, yeah, I think I'm going to stick with this. This is where things are safe and they work well and blessings abide. Over here, it's death and destruction and mayhem and chaos. It's like, why would you want this?
In other words, they have no standard of truth.
They have no standard of truth. I got you. Right.
All right, this thing, again, you light-skinned black women fighting each other and cat fighting in the street. You and Fannie Willis just in Atlanta just brawling in the ghetto.
No, that's Fonnie, her ghetto self. Now, Fonnie might
snatching the weave.
She's from LA.
Snatching the weave out of Fonnie's head.
No, I don't have a weave.
I know you know. I said Fonnie got weave. You snatching the weave out of Fonnie's head.
Right. So, you know, it's funny that you bring up Fonnie Willis because she is elevated as this is your queen. This is the epitome of womanhood and what you should aspire to.
Oh, the ladies shouldn't be drinking Great Goose.
Yeah, she get loose on the goose. She definitely gets loose on the goose. But she's free to do that. The question you need to ask yourself is, why is this kind of woman... You are cracking me up. I can't believe you asked me that.
What she funny said she drank Great Goose. They said in the court.
They did.
She did.
They did. Seriously, though, the question you need to ask yourself is, why do they prop up women like that? Why do they prop up women
The same
like
reason
that?
they prop up Snoop and Flavor Flav, because that's how they see us. These people are always, they're going to find the ones that are going to do what they're told. Get Trump.
Right.
That's your job. I don't care how you get it.
Right.
Get it. And just like Letitia James.
Right.
Same things. What is the little fat dude up in Manhattan? The little fat DA?
Alvin Bragg.
Yeah, look like a basketball with hair. Alvin Bragg.
He look like a furry, too.
Yeah, they all look like furries. They weak. Little weak beta man. Yes, a boss. Yes, a boss. Just give me the job, boss.
Give me the job.
And just contorted the law. And then these judges, after they find him guilty, look and say, man, what the hell y'all been doing? That's crazy.
Right.
Y'all can't be doing. Find out who's just taking money. Give it to a boyfriend.
Yes.
Let's go party.
You know, they say he's missing. Now, I don't know how true that was. It came across my timeline. I'm not sure. But they're saying they can't find Nathan Wade. He was supposed to report for something. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
There it is. I mean, you know, these are not the best of us. They are the worst of us. How do I know? A tree is known by
the fruit it bears.
The fruit it bears. You look at the Jewish community, how they strive in America because their elders look out for the best interests of the Jewish community. The Indian community. I mean, when you look, the top 20 Fortune 500 companies, about 10 of them are run by people of Indian descent. Google Indian. I mean, they're great. They're quiet. They work.
They do.
Hotels, convenience stores, doctors, they do well. You look at the Asian community, same thing. The elders are looking out. They look out for their people. And then you look at us, they've been selling us out since George Washington was president.
Right.
And it never stopped it.
You said something interesting, and I don't remember if you said it to me or if I read it in your book and was hearing it in your voice, but you talked about how within the Black community, how we're the only people group that did something that was against nature. You talked about how normally in the wild, not that you were referring to us as animals, but you were using this analogy. You said in the wild, animals of the same kind stick together.
Right, they herd together.
They herd together for survival. Right. And you said what happened in the civil rights movement was completely against nature because for the first time in history, we actually were trying to separate from the herd, which provided safety and provision and protection, to purposely integrate with, I guess you could say, the enemy?
Yeah.
Is that how you worded it?
And it wasn't the Christian white people who loved us. It was the terrible white people, Ku Klux Klan.
Right.
The racists, the ones that told you, I hate you.
Right, I don't want you here.
You know, Clarence Thomas went to a Catholic school in Georgia and got a great education.
Right.
But he went with Christian white people that had no problem with black people.
Right.
So they existed down south, and we congregated and lived with them. But then it was that element out there that was very cruel.
Right.
And they were trying to integrate with that element, and then that element said, send us the children, and we're going to destroy them. I guarantee you. Do it. And we did it. And now look at where they are. They basically have destroyed a generation of people. And we made it seem like herding together for protection, like everybody's always done.
Was bad.
You can go anywhere in the world and they have a Jewish quarter. They might have a Gentile quarter. They might have the Asian, they have Chinatown. People of like ideologies and like cultures come together, not because you hate somebody else.
Right.
Even now, when you find black people, they will herd together in a city. They will go to certain clubs. They'll go to certain Why? Because we have certain things in common.
Right.
And they made it seem like that there was some type of injury in that, and made black people believe that if you turned to anything that was black, you were not a Christian person. And no matter how hard they tried,
right,
when the natural instinct came, the people still went to the HBCUs.
yeah,
They still heard it in their neighborhoods.
right,
And now they're trying, and then the Iron Triangle, will then put white liberals in charge of those black areas. Have the government in charge of the educational system. Have the government in charge of the police. Have the government in charge of your medical care. As opposed to the people who live there being in charge of it. And this is how it falls apart. The people, DC has control of what's going on in Harlem. Well, if you let the people in Harlem decide, they fix the problem.
I think it's interesting that you say that. The problem is the people in those communities have become so dependent on government that they don't know how to function in their freedom and be self-sufficient.
Very good line. Function in your freedom.
Right. The idea of, well, this is my community. It's like, well, what are we supposed to do? Govern it.
Yeah.
Take care of it.
Right.
You know, be responsible for how your tax dollars are spent.
Right.
And the sad part about this is the times when we do. I look in the county where I live, where you actually have people who look like you who are in charge. They steal your money.
They do, because you know
get
what?
situations like up in Dalton, Illinois.
All them suckers get their money from the National Democratic Party. They choose them. They tell you who these people are going to be, who's going to run. Either the state party or the national party. Most of the time, the national party sends it to the state. And then they find the ones they want to run these local communities. And black people don't even know who's funding these. I remember Malcolm X came out and he started talking about who's funding NAACP. Because everybody thought it was a black organization. Malcolm was the first one to out them. He said, they will not even tell you who funds them. They won't even tell you who's running it.
Right.
And so Malcolm said, this NAACP, 95% of their money comes from white people. You know, the Spring Garden Award was from a white Jewish guy. These liberals always ran these black civil rights organizations. You know about the SCLC.
Right.
You had Stanley Levinson bankrolling it, and the communists and the Marxists and Jack O'Dell. King was just a front man.
I'm going to do a show on that.
Yeah, it's always been that these liberals understood, just like they understood on the cotton plantations. We got to keep the black people or we die. We have to. They will lose this election with Kamala Harris to keep the black people voting for them because they're looking at another election ahead. Joe Biden's going to lose the black vote.
Wait a minute. You got to say that again. You are asserting that the Democrats would rather lose this election if it means that they don't lose more of the black vote.
More of the black vote. They have
you got to flesh that out for me.
Okay. They got to have 90% of the black vote.
But they've lost that.
To win.
That's a fact.
But they thought that they could get it back with Kamala Harris, even if they were going to lose more white men.
Right.
Even if they were going to lose probably more white women. We don't have a chance if black people leave the Democrat Party and go to the Republican Party.
But they're leaving.
Some are. Their calculation is if we get a black woman, like we got Barack Obama, when Barack Obama won, we got 90% of the black vote.
Right.
And we were solid. Man, we are at 65% of the black vote now with Joe Biden. We're going to die. Right. What do? Get a black woman in. And then the black people come back, and even if we lose, because if we lose them with Biden, we'll never get them back.
But I don't think I don't believe that they've been successful in the acquisition of these blacks.
You know why? Because Donald Trump was smart enough to say, well, last time I checked, she was in it.
Ain't even black.
And that's when the thing went bam, and they went crazy. That's why I said it was a genius move, because nobody ever questioned her blackness before.
Right.
No one had ever questioned it. And then Donald Trump gets up there at the black. That's it. Why is Donald Trump going to this black journalist thing? I mean, you know they're going to ambush him.
Right.
He had a plan.
You think there was a plan all along?
Hell yeah. Donald Trump. He walked up to the first thing he said when they asked him about it. He's waiting for it. He said, well, up 3 years ago, she was Indian. She just turned black. And then it all exploded. I had not questioned her blackness. Right. I don't know if you had. And then we all started looking. He said, I will be. She is in there.
But isn't it funny how the side that is the champions for DEI now wants you to ignore the fact that she's fake black?
Exactly.
She's fake black. And you're just supposed to agree and say she is.
And you have to accept it now without any evidence. And she won't even, if you ask her about it, it's just a business. She won't even try to defend it anymore because she knows she's lying.
She knows she can't. So with that being said, you're saying that they ran Kamala in order to try to get some of that black vote back.
They have to have it They have to.
But it's not enough. Most of the black men I know, they're not voting for Kamala.
So that's the thing. See, when Trump came out and threw that missive out,
Right.
that she probably ain't black.
Mm-hmm.
Even black men like me would say, "What?" And we look back like, "Oh my goodness!" And now you say she's passing. She's a liar. She ain't black. Da 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 da. So that little kick they were going to get from having the first black woman running, and see, still a lot of black women haven't agreed on this yet.
Right.
They still trying to say she AKA and she still
Don't care.
They don't care. But see, there's going to be enough. I believe they're going to lose more than they thought they would have lost.
Right.
Because of Trump's missive and letting everybody know that she is not black. So the Democratic Party even thought that Kamala was black. And then they come to find out she's not. They say, oh, my
So now
God.
do you still think that they, well, one, I don't think she's going to win. Not legally, not legitimately. Right. I don't believe she's going to win the Electoral College. I don't think she's going to get enough of the popular vote. But my question is, you said something about 2028. Mm-hmm. Do you think at this point they're so evil? I can't even say that they'd be willing to be like, okay, we already know we're going to lose this. Let's have our sights set on 2028. Mm-hmm. They got something up their sleeve.
They always do.
There's something up their sleeve. It's not a matter of if, it's when.
The thing is, though, they couldn't let their blacks get off the plantation. They could not allow that because they know that they got to keep 90% of the black vote in order to survive. If they lose it, good. Illegals. But they thought that Kamala was going to bring that black vote. That's why everybody stepped back and let her have it. Because they said the one thing we cannot do
is lose the black vote.
vote.
But how valuable is the black vote now that we have the illegal immigration element added to the mix?
That's why the Supreme Court's so important. Because the only way these illegals ever get a chance to vote, the Supreme Court has ruled that they can, that they are legal citizens and that they can vote. And this is why they want to get Trump out so bad, because they got two justices they think are coming up, Clarence Thomas and they think Alito. And if we get a Democrat to vote on those, they got a 5-4 lead, and then they can do what they want to do. The Supreme Court says, we tell you what the law is. They can apply the 14th Amendment to anything they want. Anything.
So you're saying that they could apply the 14th Amendment to somehow legitimize these illegals for the purposes of voting?
There was a Supreme Court case called Plyler versus Doe. Okay. It's very obscure, but it's very powerful. The state of Texas will not allow illegals to go to public education. They said, you got to show that you live here, that you have residences, da-da-da-da, and the illegals couldn't show it. Right. So they took the state of Texas to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled, if these children are in your state, you got to send them to school. That's why the children of illegals can go to public schools right now. Now, they said that if you don't want them to go to your schools, don't let them come over here. But your job is to keep them out.
But the border was left compromised.
And that's the federal government.
Right.
They say if you let them in, you got to educate them. And if you want to educate them, keep them out.
Right.
They'll say the same thing with voting.
Are you sure?
They did it with Plyler versus Doe. If you don't want them to vote,
don't let them in.
Don't let them in. But once they come here, they have a right then to representation. Your job was to keep them out. You didn't keep them out.
So therefore,
now that they're here, you're not going to make them a permanent underclass. I know the game you're playing. You want to bring these 4 people in here, and you want to make them a permanent underclass and have them work for you for pennies on the dime. We ain't going to allow it. If you let them in, you got to take care of them. So keep them out. That's the Supreme Court. That's Plyler versus Doe. Right. And they can do the same thing when it comes down to voting. If you don't want them to vote, you don't want them to be citizens, don't let them over here.
So in light of that, that means that there is a high chance that they will be casting their vote in this election.
Well, not now, because Supreme Court is not. They're trying to get, right now they're holding up the budget in the House because they want, there's a part of the budget where they're saying they want every person to show that they are citizens before they can vote.
Right.
And the Democrats are holding that up. So I don't know where that is now. I got to check and see where that is. But that was the big sticking point for a very long time. They want proof of citizenship before you can vote in the United States of America. And the Democrats said no. Now, why would they say no?
Exactly.
There you go.
Because they want them to vote.
There it is. So, but the Supreme Court can do anything it wants, just like it said gay marriage. Men can marry men. I mean, and they hit it with the 14th Amendment. Equal protection. They can say equal protection when it comes down to illegals and citizens. Equal protection. They're here. They can do that if they choose. They can take the law and contort it any way they want to.
Right.
And this is what the Democrats are depending on. They're just not letting 15 million people over here because they just got nothing better to do. They got a plan, and it's a long-term plan. And they know that they can get justices on the court that will do whatever they tell them to do. And that's their plan. This is why they want Donald Trump to lose so bad. They think Clarence Thomas or Alito are going to retire or die, and then they can replace them. But if Trump comes in, they think Alito and Clarence Thomas might just step down, and then Trump can replace them with Joker 35 years old and keep the majority forever.
Either way.
But they wanted to use Kamala for one reason. They wanted to make sure that if they lose this election, we still got our 90% of the black vote because we think in 2028.
Do they really have that high of a percentage of the black vote with Kamala?
No, not now.
Right.
They thought they would.
They thought they would.
Until Trump threw the bomb in there.
Right. And so
messed
since
the
that
whole
has happened,
thing up.
based on where the numbers are now, it's not enough.
It's not enough. This is why I think she's going to lose. And this is why they're in panic mode right now.
Okay.
And they're saying that, oh my God, we're going to lose this anyway. We might lose the black vote with it because we've been lying about Kamala Harris being black. She's actually Caucasian. And we've lost a lot of credibility behind this.
Right.
So now it might be just a big catastrophe for them, which I believe it will be.
Right.
But that was the whole thing behind Kamala Harris. The black community is still how they see it, the cotton pickers of their party.
I call them the electoral serfs.
That's who they are.
Right.
Instead of picking cotton, now they pick votes. And they have to have them.
Got to have
They got to have them. All right. All right. I want you to talk about this because I know it's something that's very important to you. Abortion, and then how Christianity is the answer, true Christianity.
Right.
To what ails America, and especially what ails the black community now. Because like you said, we talk about the black community because we go back to the parable of the lost sheep. Jesus Christ said that the good shepherd will leave the other sheep and go get the one that is lost, the one. And right now, most of America is doing well, and the black community is the lost sheep. Right. And we kind of going back to say, look, y'all, as a nation, we have to go back and get these people and help them because right now they're being ravaged by the Democratic Party.
They are.
I mean, you're taking the children and you're transitioning them in public education. You got, they push this transgender thing, and 67% of black men that are transgender have HIV.
You did.
You have the family still being destroyed. We are now below the rate of replacement. We're dying.
Yes.
We're actually dying as a people. It's a fratricide and a genocide all tied together. And the Democrat, and then they've apostated the black church. They've made it where it is just a relic of what it used to be, where it's designed, the original design was get you prepared to live in the presence of Jesus Christ for eternity. Right. That was its design. And now its design is to just get liberals elected.
Yeah.
So talk about abortion and how true Christianity is the answer to the things that are really, really ravaging America right now, and the black community in particular.
I think abortion is one of the greatest tragedies of our modern history. I think about, what side of this argument would I be on if this was slavery?
Yes.
Right? You had, the North saying, oh, well, if the folks down there want to have their slaves, let them have their slaves. And some states, if you want to be a slave state, you can. And then if you don't, but it really came down to the personhood of the humanity of the African slaves that was the sticking point that we realized that these are image bearers.
And when Dred Scott said that they weren't even people.
Right.
And they said, no, we can't have
right. So you're dealing with image bearers. And it's the same thing with this abortion issue. This is child sacrifice. This is a worship of Molech and just bowing the knee to the idol of everything. And the children are the sacrifice. Whether it's women who want to have this robust career, chasing everything that's not going to give them any sort of joy or has any eternal value, but it's just focusing on self and what they want, and what makes them happy. And it's just, I believe, abortion is a reflection of the state, the mental state and the spiritual condition of the women in this nation. If you think about, you have women now who, the modesty is off the table. Forget modesty. But the sexual revolution and feminism that ushered in this, free sex and promiscuity, and then men, no offense, but y'all are gonna rise to the occasion and just respond to whatever the women are doing.
Well, I don't know why y'all tripping about Megan Thee Stallion shaking it like she was shaking it at Kamala Harris's thing. I mean,
This is why I can't.
I'm just saying.
Y'all ain't got good sense.
No, it was.
I'm trying to be serious. It's talking about Megan Thee Stallion.
It was art up there with Megan. But she had two on the other side.
Right.
Shaking right with her.
Well, this lets you know.
I told him to check the temperature, and I thought it was like 29 degrees below zero. She was shaking so bad.
Listen, you've proven my point. You've proven the point that Megan Thee Stallion, being the archetype of what the Democrat Party is saying, hey, this is your idol. This is who you must be.
Are you saying that's a bad thing?
Yes, it is a reflection. It is a reflection of the spiritual and the moral state of our women. And when I say our women, I'm not just saying just black women.
And Kamala highlighted
women.
her.
Exactly. Like she thought that was a good idea. She thought that was a good idea because they actually want to promote more family breakdown, death, destruction, sexual promiscuity. So, because the thing about it is, you never hear anybody, I at least remember in high school, abstinence was a discussion. Abstinence used to be on the table and it was a discussion, but now it's not. Abortion is now a form of birth control. Yeah. And they don't talk about, yes, Roe v. Wade has been overturned, but abortion is still happening in this country. Yeah. Babies are still being murdered here. I'm very active in the pro-life movement in my state. Yeah, and I just want to be a voice, one, for the voiceless, because these babies don't have a voice, no one to advocate for them. But the messaging to the women is that, we were not created to function this way. It is unnatural for human mammals to want to murder their own offspring. That's letting you know that there's something spiritual at work here. We have murder on our minds.
And
we have murderous heart.
Margaret Sanger, Planned Parenthood, started it up with the Negro Project.
Absolutely.
And who was the one that helped her out with the Negro Project?
MLK. So MLK was the first recipient of the Margaret Sanger Award
that's right.
in 1966. Mm-hmm. And W.E.B. Du Bois was on the board of her first Negro birth control clinic in Harlem. Yeah. And so this has been a long journey of selling the Black community on death, murdering your own progeny, be sexually promiscuous, and at the end of the day, money is a driving factor to all of this. Yes. At one point, I was going to say, yes, it is genocidal, and they want to see less Black people. There is a component to that, but this is really about money. The amount of money that is generated from the abortion industry, not just in the actual chemical or surgical component, but the pharmaceutical component. These drugs, they're making a lot of money. And then you've got the aftermarket, that the money that's generated from the research and the body parts. They're selling these things. I mean, it's one of the most sadistic things I never would have thought that this would be, common conversation across the dinner table, but it is now. But I think it's a reflection of the moral condition of our women, which brings me to your next point. You asked about the Christian faith. Is Christianity the answer to this? And absolutely, I would affirm that it is. A lot of the things that I talk about on my show, I root my views and what I think about all of the things that we've talked about. It's rooted from my biblical worldview. And it's a gospel-centered approach, because the gospel is the only thing that can answer. It's the one answer that can answer so many different problems, because it's the only answer for our sin problem. Yes. We can't fix ourselves. We can't be good. And even on our best day, our good is not good enough, because God demands perfection. Yes. And so the message of the gospel, when preached in its full authenticity, without the added layer of, come live your best life now. No, believers, we are never promised to live our best life this side of heaven. Right. It is about having a remedy for this sin problem and being able to stand before God the Father clothed in a righteousness that's not your own. Yes. And so we need the gospel for that, because what happens when the gospel permeates the wicked sinner's heart, raises you from newness to life, something happens to you. You actually change. Yes, you actually I used to be pro-choice. I used to actually believe that it was okay for a woman to have the right to go and murder her baby. And it came from the murder in my heart, because that's where murder begins. When the gospel was preached and I was made alive in Christ, all of a sudden now I am repulsed by the idea of being a murderer.
That's why they fear it.
Right.
That's why they want
This
to
is
stamp it
why
out.
they have to stamp out Christianity, because Christianity is in the way.
Or replace it with a false Christianity, which is what they're
Right.
doing now more than anything.
Right. And I think that's the part that saddens me the most within the Black church. I know we're not talking about that, but the gospel is absent
Yes.
in the vast majority of American churches, but particularly those of the Black persuasion. The simple message of you suck. You're not good. Your heart is deceitful and desperately wicked, and you need a remedy for this sin problem. Like, we don't even talk about sin in churches anymore.
And don't they
because you're
use
gonna
racism?
offend.
They use racism to divide Black and white Christians.
They do.
And they make us hate one another and fight one another. And you go to a church of a mixed congregation, and you find that the white conservative is not your enemy.
Not
They
my
are
enemy.
really not your enemy at all.
No.
It is what Malcolm said about that white liberal. That's the one that causes the trouble. But they know that if Black and white Christians ever get together, they're done.
But only the gospel can do that. So the reason why I say Christianity is the answer and the gospel is the solution, because the gospel, the message of the cross is that we, as sinful wretches of all ethnicities, now have access through a mediator, Christ Jesus, to be reconciled to our Creator and then to be reconciled to one another. So now I don't have hatred in my heart on the basis of ethnicity towards someone who doesn't look like me, because the gospel has now changed my heart, and I now see that person as an image bearer. But now we're all adopted into the family of God, and now that's my brother, or now that's my sister.
There it is.
The gospel is just the answer for so many different things. So
April Chapman,
I had a good time.
you are a star.
Thank you, sir.
There has been a growing debate out there. I just been hearing it.
Okay.
I got a podcast. You got a podcast. Most of the people I heard say my podcast is better than yours.
I'll allow
That's
it.
just what I'm hearing.
I'll allow it.
I'm just hearing.
Your podcast would be better than mine if you posted more content. But since you don't, I will stay in the lead, and we will have this feud for however long. I don't know. It's friendly competition.
Well, I'm glad to have you on my show. You're a good sport.
Thank you.
You have a better podcast. I'll concede that.
Crown me.
If you guys have not seen April Chapman's podcast, it is must-watch TV. I cannot watch it before I go to bed because I'm up all night laughing and throwing my fist through the whole thing, and I get too excited afterward. Look, my brothers and sisters, God is in control. We are here to just give you information. We're here to try to help our citizens, our people, our country. And I can say this for April, we are here to wake you up. Hope we did you some good today. So come join me again next week for the Vince Everett Ellison Show.
Hey y'all, we are back. I hope you enjoyed that. I did not realize how long that interview was, but it was nice. It was a nice change from our usual live stream this time of evening. I wanted to show that just because that was like my first in-person podcast interview. And it was with one of my favorite people. And I just want to share that with you guys because there was so much that we wanted to talk about, but you can only fit but so many topics in a short amount of time. But hopefully, people who have not been introduced to Vince on this channel got an opportunity to be exposed to him. And then on his channel, he actually premiered the same interview earlier today. And I got acquainted with some new people over there. So all that cross-pollination, it's a good thing because it helps us to get this message out to more people. But something interesting about that interview. There were a few things that I actually wanted to talk about this evening. I haven't really prepared a whole lot, but there were some aspects of what was discussed in that interview that prompted me to say, you know what, I want to talk about it a little further. Earlier today, I was watching a lecture, which happened to be by Vince. Oh, y'all, like this, content creators tend to, when you find a fellow content creator whose message resonates with you, it's kind of hard for you to be like, oh, it's kind of hard for you to not pull inspiration from them. But he did a lecture on this college campus, and it was hostile, y'all. Like, I don't even know if I would have been able to be in that space with the level of hostility that these young people were directing toward him. Listen, I mean, it was like some fighting words exchanged, but it got me to thinking, because there's this concept of white privilege that was brought up, and in the realm of CRT, y'all know critical race theory is like on the forefront of academia, and these young people are going into these colleges and these universities, and not even that, grade school, they're being indoctrinated into the idea of this concept of white privilege. And the way Vince kind of handled that, I don't think they were expecting that response. There were some liberal tears shed, like a little girl, she did cry. She cried because she got up to the mic and she literally looked this whole grown man. In comparison to him, she's kind of like a child, but I'll call her a young adult. And looked this man in the eye and said that she had privilege over him. And it's amazing to hear white liberals say this. These are supposed to be the anti-racists, but they'll look you in the eye and assert that they have privilege over you. And basically, he told the little girl that she was crazy. He told her she was crazy. Words were exchanged. She ends up crying. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk a little bit about what she said and what his response was. So this young lady who claimed that the reason why she had white privilege over him was because her family, who is white, were able to work and transfer generational wealth to the next generation by way of owning a home. And they had the ability to go to a bank and take out a loan and then transfer that house and then to send the children to college. And she's naming all these things. And I'm like, wait a minute, black people do that too. But in her mind, the reason or the causation, the reason why she or her parents, I would say, were able to do that was because on the basis of their ethnicity, because they are white. And I found that to be one of the most racist statements ever, because it presupposes that white people, and y'all know, y'all my people on here, those who do the will of my Father. So when I talk about white folks, y'all know how I'm talking about people who are of a Eurocentric persuasion in this country. This little girl was making a statement that just on the basis of them being white, that they just randomly one day woke up and decided that they wanted to buy a home. They didn't have to. Now, she didn't say this, but this is the logical conclusion that you have to arrive to based on what she said. But that on the basis of them just being white, they were able to walk into a bank. She said this. Now, she didn't say this part, but she said they walked into a bank and just got a loan. And I'm sitting there listening, so I'm like, so they didn't check any sort of credit worthiness or, your parents' ability to repay this loan just because they were white. They walked in and they just gave them the money. I'm like, now that seems to me to not be a very wise business practice, because if that were the case, a lot of banks would go under if they were just disseminating and giving out loans just because you white, you approve, you black, you not approve. And here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying that discrimination does not exist or does not happen. What I am arguing is that these young people are going to colleges and universities, and they are coming out literally believing that because they are white, that they have privilege over others who are non-white just because they are white, and they claim it has to do with these systems. But my question is, why is it that they can never, what do they do with people like me? What do they do with people like Vince and members of his family? What do they just do with everyday Americans who are not white, who have done a few things, such as go to school, obtain an education, make themselves valuable in the marketplace by learning valuable skills and then improving upon those skills to where they're just good at what they do? Or starting a business, right? Like, it makes me wonder, how is this country gonna survive if these ideologies are pushed and they are so mainstream that the inverse is when you would hear the black students come up to the mic, they really believed, they would not say that they would not utter the words, I am inferior, but they function with a level of inferiority because they've been told that whiteness means privilege and that these people have privilege over them. So therefore, you can't achieve and do anything, or if the reason why you fail to achieve to do anything is because you don't have the same privilege that these white people do. And I don't know how I would have ever made it in the world if I grew up thinking that to be true. And so what I want to do is I want to read to you an excerpt from Vince's latest book. It's called The End of Tolerance. And y'all, he hadn't even really promoted this book yet, but we about to change that. But this bad boy, this book has messed me up. It has messed me up because in chapter 3, and I ain't gonna give away the whole book. Y'all need to just go on and buy the book, but it's really, really good. I want to read to you a section from chapter 3. Because he says something after he quotes Thomas Sowell. He says, envy was once considered to be one of the 7 deadly sins before it became one of the most admired virtues under its new name, social justice. Then Vince goes on to say, he says, hard work, training, education, honesty, manners, and self-worth were too difficult and had to be jettisoned and exchanged for forced compliance by the barrel of a gun. He then goes on to say, the effort of forced compliance inevitably ends with the instigator gaining nothing but contempt. In other words, the people crying boo-hoo, oh, woe is me, like I'm such a victim and I can't rise above my circumstances because of the white privilege. Those people, those are the instigators gaining nothing but contempt, saying that this type of behavior, it breeds contempt in others who witness it and experience you this way. He then goes on to say, even though the minions in the socialist media will bathe them with favorable press. Notice how all the social justicians, they always get all the press. Joy Reid, got her own show. Roland Martin, and he has his own show on independent media, but he has no problem getting, well, he might, because he's just annoying. Primetime airplay, but Al Sharpton on MSNBC. Notice how these are the ones that's always crying, what was me? They get bathed in media attention. He then goes on and says, the majority of true Americans will view those rioting, begging, and crying unfavorably. They'll be looked upon as stalkers and sad, pitiful wretches. At the same time, the rejecter, those American Negroes, those my people, y'all. The rejecter who chooses to be left alone will be viewed as the superior, being justified in his treatment of lower class inferiors. I'm just gonna finish with this. Since most Black Democrats already view themselves in this light, their debasement does not matter. Their participation in this unmanly, un-American, and unchristian behavior was preordained and automatic. Who let the dog out? Who let the dog? He's here. Hey, baby. Hi, sugar booger. Okay, go on, sit down now. It's a live show. Y'all know how we do. The dog has missed me. Y'all, the dog has been depressed. My dog has been depressed for 4 days. He was behind the couch. He didn't want to engage with nobody. He was trying to figure out where his mama was. But I'm back now, and I guess he was demanding to come in here, so they let him in. 10%, please. Thank you. Go on and sit down now. So the part here that I wanted to just spend some time on that I thought was incredible was where he talks about, even though the minions in the socialist media will bathe them, the pro-blackity black, woe is me, the beggins, with favorable press, how the vast majority of true Americans view them. And I thought that was interesting. I was like, this is why so many in the black community, no one respects us. And I'm saying us, meaning I'm not necessarily include me in the group. I'm just talking about in the macro because I don't have these kind of problems. But if you think about it, if all you do is riot, beg, complain, and whine, not compete, not improve your situation and your circumstances, regardless of where you start. Because y'all know, I've heard Kamala talk about the difference between equity and equality. And she does that analogy with the stool and how, you know, some people are down here and then some people are up here. So what you got to do is bring this person up so that everybody starts on the same playing field. And I'm like, this woman must have never played sports. She's never played sports. She's never started a business. She's never done anything where she actually had to compete to just be better, right? If she was put in a situation where she had to compete to be better, she would not come up with such a foolish way to view the world. Because nothing in the world, where did this concept come from of life? We just need everything to be fair. Where everybody just needs a participation trophy. No, some people just gonna be at the bottom. Right? Because they don't try. They're listening to foolishness like this and listening to other people tell them how much of a victim they are and how oppressed they are. And if you constantly are internalizing those types of messages, then yes, you just whack. Like when I grew up in a generation where we actually had special ed classes, right? You had the gifted and talented classes. You know, you might had a little remedial classes. Then you just was everybody else. Like us being grouped based on ability was not a foreign concept. And I'm sure if you got put in special ed, you felt some sort of kind of way, but you were placed there because it was like, this is the level that you're able to perform at this time. Now, it doesn't mean that teachers would not work with you and challenge you and just vigorously place you on a trajectory where you would no longer be a special ed student. But for the most part, if that's just where you were based on your effort, that's just where you were. And it used to be okay. And if you were talented and gifted, if you were able to demonstrate, you know, a heightened level of academic prowess and you scored well, you were rewarded for that. Now, the idea of people being distributed and rewarded or not rewarded on the basis of their actual skill set, that is actually viewed as just unfair. And that's just wild and crazy to me. But I wanted to read you guys this because here is the overarching point that really messed me up, y'all. When he talked about how this mindset was unmanly, un-American, and un-Christian, I was like, that's it. This is why when I watched, what was it? I was watching today. Did you guys get an opportunity to see Byron Donalds, Congressman Byron Donalds on a CNN panel with Abby Phillips and the little sweet guy? What is his name? Oh, he's so effeminate. Get on my nerves. And he's a leftical. I don't remember what his name is, but Byron, if you probably ain't gonna see this, and I might have to chop this out and get this to your people because don't do this no more. Byron Donalds, who I greatly respect because he's an American patriot, he's a conservative, ain't got no smoke for Byron. But there's no way in God's green earth I'm gonna let some girly man, soy boy, talk to me the way Byron let this man talk to him. Byron was spitting facts. No doubt he was spitting facts because CNN was doing what CNN always does, which is lie and try to manipulate. And it's so embarrassing to see Abby Phillips do this. They called themselves pulling out this FBI report to try to prove that crime is down. Byron is like, okay, what is your litmus test to determine that this crime is down? And this is how they manipulate these figures, you guys. If you think about it, police departments all over this country are short-staffed. Some municipalities won't even dispatch the police depending on what the crime is because they're like, yeah, it's not that serious. We're not coming. At least that's here in Georgia. They're like, no, we're not coming for that. Like somebody break into your car, they're like, you need to come down to the police report and file a report. We're not coming. We can't waste resources because somebody stole your bike or because someone stole your car or broke your window or that's how bad the crime is. But what CNN tried to do is try to sell to the American people that crime was down. And Byron is making the argument to explain that that is not true, particularly in Democratic-led strongholds. And the little girly man was like getting real aggressive and calling him a liar. And I was like, oh, who? I'm like, who this Negro think he talking to? I was like, oh. And Byron, no shade. I don't know if this is just you trying to be a politician. You know, he was conceding and letting this, can you say shim? He was letting this shim manhandle him on network television. I was like, yeah, ain't no way. Byron, you too tall, too big. I done stood next to you. Byron, ain't no way you should have let that man talk to you that way. To hear this, the girly man whining and crying and then he was so offended. This is what he started doing. He started telling Abby, I don't even know why you let him on this panel. And he needed to be checked. Byron Donalds should have checked him. And this is, I think, the part within conservatism that bothers me the most. Because y'all need to start checking these fools when they start talking to you crazy like that. It is unacceptable. You can be poised and polished. That is great. But if we're having an adult conversation and one, you're going to start talking to me like I'm not even in the room, or you're going to start talking to the person who was supposed to be moderating, talking about, I don't even know why they let him in. I'll be like, oh, no. See, y'all need some new school conservatives. And I wonder if they don't give the new school conservatives who ain't never scared, they don't give them no airtime, because if they did, we would eat these lefticals for breakfast. You're not gonna talk to me any old kind of way. He would have had one time to call me a liar before I'd be like, yeah, y'all may want to cut to commercial because it's about to get ugly. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you just, at some point, you have to assert yourself and defend yourself vigorously, not just with your argumentation, but these people need to know that you're not running this. You may have the listening ear of your brain dead audience, but y'all are not running anything. I don't understand why conservatives are always the ones that have to back down and concede when the lefticals are so disrespectful, and they will lie with impunity. They just lie, and you be quiet and you sit back and you just let them lie. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. So the point I'm making is that there is no way, the whole concept of white supremacy and white privilege, for Black people to even be talking and speaking in those kinds of categories. Because when you do, this is the end result. People look at you with contempt. You'll never earn anyone's respect. They will always look at you as some little charity case that needs to be pitied. And I don't know about y'all, but the American Negroes that I come from, that's my Booker T. Washingtons and your Frederick Douglasses and your Harriet Tubmans, those people, no one pitied them because they recognized the importance of being able to compete based on their merit, and that the amount of melanin in their skin was no indication of their value or their essence or their worth, but that they were just people and that they had something of value to contribute to society and their communities at large. And if more of us did that, we would be so much more further along. But when you spend all your time whining and crying, talking about, well, I can't do this, and you demanding, this is why I absolutely hate, and I know y'all gonna give me flack for this, but I absolutely do. I despise the civil rights operation of the 1960s. I saw someone leave a comment earlier and said, they was like, we should have never integrated. And I would like to echo that sentiment. Here's what I'm not saying. When you hear me say or echo what someone in the live chat said, saying we should have never integrated, here's what you did not hear me say. I am not saying that we should have been allowed to, through the natural course of history, get to know one another on the basis of being image bearers, but forced integration did more harm than good. Because the moment you start ruling with an iron fist and forcing people to be accepted by people who say, I hate you, I don't like you, and I wish you harm, how do you think that this is going to work long term? I don't know. But when we look at the results of the civil rights operation of the 1960s, are we winning? I mean, before it, we had our own bus lines. We had our own insurance companies. There were black banks. One here in Atlanta used to be a black bank. Our own dry cleaners. Like, we had our own things, and it wasn't to the exclusion of others. It was like, find a way or make a way. You don't love me? Fine. I'm not going to make you love me. I'm going to love you, but I'm going to be over here living my life. And once you see that I got a better product and that I provide a better service, eventually you'll realize, wait a minute, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to use that merchant because I heard that they do the best tailoring, or they've got the best this, or whatever that widget is or service is. I don't believe forcing by legislation the arm of government to say you need to send your children to the school with the people that hate you. I don't think that made sense. And I know that's not a popular view, but that's just where I am now. I had the pleasure of riding in an Uber to the airport on Thursday. And I was minding my business, y'all. It was super early in the morning. I had a super early flight to catch. I'm in the back of the Uber, just minding my business, like I just want to catch a flight. And I had a nice Uber driver, very nice gentleman. But politics came up, and I did not initiate the conversation. I told you it was early. I didn't really want to do all that talking. But politics came up. And the assumption was, she's a black woman. Let me talk to her about Kamala Harris. Now, y'all already know this conversation didn't go well. It didn't go well because he commenced to tell me about, his daughter and how she's an AKA and how she actually knows Kamala, or whatever her name is these days, and how excited he was. And I just sat and I listened, and I was like, that's gonna be a no for me. I said, it's gonna take a little bit more than a little ski-wee and a little HBCU attendance for me to support someone like Kamala Harris. He was like, okay, well, what about the other side? I said, well, what about it? What about the other side? What do you want me to answer about the other side? And I thought that we were going to have a substantive conversation, but what I realized is that most people are not interested in substance. They can't give you a substantive reason why they would support Kamala Harris. His only argument was, well, what about the one who said, you know, that he wants to grab him by the you know what? And I was like, okay, let's go there. I'll allow it. I said, actually, that's not what he said. I said, in the context in which he made that statement, he said when you are powerful and rich, you have a lot of money, that women will let you grab them by the you know what. I said, now you know just as well as I do, if you were a multimillionaire right now, you know, wearing you a nice Brioni suit and some Gucci shoes, and you had a boatload of money, power, influence, that you could probably walk and do whatever you want. And when they know about your resources, they gonna let you do some things. I said, now I'm not advocating and saying that, you know, that is conversation that you have in polite company. No. I said, but what does that have to do? What does that have to do with the policies that he has presented for how he's going to get this country back on track? I said, can we talk about his governance? I said, because to me, at this level of the game, it seems just a little juvenile and childish to be harping on some statement he made that you're taking out of context about him talking about, you know, women allowing you to do that. I was like, what is your point? I said, here's where we are. I said, do you have grandchildren? I said, are you okay with your children in the public school system being exposed to sexual content and being told that, you know, a man can be a woman or a woman can be a man if they decide? And you know what his answer was, y'all? He said, oh, well, I don't really get into all of that. I said, you don't get into all of that. I was like, well, it's kind of hard not to get into it because it's into the school system. I said, so you've divorced yourself from an actual issue that's actually happening at the hands of an administration and a candidate that wants more of that, and you're telling me you don't get into that? I was like, you don't see that as a problem? I said, you think that's healthy for human flourishing, and you really think that kind of ideology is the basis for a healthy family? I was like, how you gonna have a healthy family with that when those two can't procreate? I said, and then on top of that, I said, you're a Black American. I'm a Black American. I was like, we're dying. I said, there are more of us that have been killed and not enough of us being born to replenish for the next generation. It's like, you don't have a problem with that? And he was like, I mean, I personally don't like, you know, abortion. But I said, but what? But what? I just told you your race is dying. I was like, these are the things that can directly affect and contribute to either the flourishing of your people or the demise of your people. And you're the ones voting and supporting that. And you're confused why I'm not with her. I was like, go and ask me again. Ask me again. So we just kept going on and on, back and forth. And eventually he was like, you know, you should run for office. I was like, I have no desire to run for public office. I said, I'm way more effective out here, doing what I love, and just keep your paws off my guns and just leave me alone. That's where I am. He was like, well, you know, because every rebuttal that he had, he really didn't have an argument. He just continued to move the goalposts and say, but the other side. And I'm like, what about the other side? Let's talk about the other side. Let's talk about the tangible policies that are being put forth. And let's discuss, she's already in office now as the VP. And he was like, yeah, but she really can't do nothing. I said, well, that should demonstrate to you that if you don't have the ability to influence, you're in the second highest office of the land, and you're just a figurehead. I'm not about to elect you to the highest office of the land so you can just be another figurehead. I said, on top of the fact, I was like, you know, she ain't really Black. I said, do you really want, are we really doing that again? And so by this point, we're pulling up to the airport. And I was like, thank you, Jesus, because I really did not want to have that conversation that early in the morning. But I realized, I remember, this is what I forgot to tell y'all. The part that really saddened me was he told a story. He's not that old, but he told a story about the segregated South and how he distinctly remembers his father taking him into town, and it was the 2 water fountains, and one said black, for black colored, sorry, because we wasn't black yet, we was just colored. And then for whites only, and how his father grabbed him and was just like, I don't even want you near this. And I said, okay. And I just asked him, I said, why did it mean? I said, why do you think it meant so much to your father to be able to drink from a water fountain that's just labeled for whites only? Like, why did you need that to feel better about yourself? I was like, are you not an image bearer, made in the image of God, created and worthy of value, dignity, and respect? You're gonna let a sign on a water fountain define you when God has already spoken regarding who you are? And he was like, well, I was like, get your own water fountain. And he was like, see, it's easy for you to say that because you didn't grow up in that. I was like, listen. God knew exactly what decade for me to be born in, because there's no way, me being the type of person that I am, with the type of personality that I have, that I would have just accepted some sort of you are inferior label because of the color of your skin. That would have been funny to me. That would have been laughable. I heard a friend tell me, hey, they told me to sit in the back of the bus. I was like, make me. I'm not going, right? And I know people are saying, hindsight's 2020. It's easy for you to say that now, but I'm like, if more of us actually got on that bus and was like, make me, perhaps it wouldn't have been socially acceptable to have a colored section. Because you'd have been like, you got to make me. I'm not. No. So that's just my thoughts. But anyway, y'all. Y'all still there? Let me get to these super chats. Oh, actually, I acknowledge, hey, Calvin. Good to see you, Calvin. Good to see you, Shamika. And I think I already got to Sister Sonia. I got to everybody. I didn't even know if y'all were still in the live chat. Am I going in and out? Oh, wow. My audio's going in and out. I'm sorry. How long has it been doing that? I don't know. How long has it been doing that? Not just you. Is it me or is she going in and out? I guess I was going in and out. I don't know. Hopefully it's better now because I'm about done. Like, I'm tired. Y'all, please pray for our family. We are under this, there was a chemical plant fire in our county. And I think I'm right here. I'm right here. Am I still going? Oh, it was earlier. Okay. Thank you, young Tolly. Thank you very much. I'm sorry about that. I don't know. And it could be the way I was sitting, perhaps. I'm not sure. Oh, y'all are still there. You cutting in and out says, girl, what is going on with my audio today? I don't know. Is it my internet? I'm not sure. Oh, I know. I think my XLR cable was loose. I think. Maybe. I'm just making up. Oh, the whole stream? Oh, no. Well, we'll have to do something about that. Well, the good thing is I record separate audio tracks. So if I need to use any of this later, I have hopefully untarnished audio. I look sleepy. I am. It's not that I look sleepy. I think what's happening in the environment is starting to get to me because now I'm starting to get a headache. And It's a long story, but we should have evacuated. But I'm not gonna talk about it right now. But we should have evacuated, because I think this toxic cloud of chemicals is starting to affect me. Like, I feel, yes, it froze, but it's fine now. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Anyway. All right, well, I'm gonna let y'all go. Y'all done missed the debate. I totally forgot that tonight was the VP debate. So you was sleepy. I know, Dion. I think I am a little bit. Audio comes on every 5 seconds, then goes off. Oh, that is horrible. Okay, I don't know what's happening. But anyway, couple of announcements. October the 15th, I'll be in Raleigh, North Carolina. Will you go to hell for me? We're doing a premiere there. We've been requested to hit Charlotte. The jury is still out on that. I don't know if and when that's going to happen, but it is a possibility. We might be taking that show and going to Charlotte, North Carolina. It's still cutting in and out. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Helena says it's fine for her. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. But I'm going to cut the live stream off anyway. So if you have not registered, we have very few tickets left. And once it sells out, we might get a larger theater. I don't know. But there's like under 20 seats left. So if you were trying to meet us in Raleigh, you wasn't gonna watch it, Susie? Girl. To me, it's just a clown show at this point. So I wouldn't be mad at you for skipping it. I really wouldn't. But anyway, y'all, let me get off of here. I need to go tend to these children and my dog. Lord willing, I will see you guys, Lord willing, Friday, maybe. Will I see y'all tomorrow? I don't know. I'm working on a show right now called Who Started and Controlled the Civil Rights Movement. I'm not finished yet. But if I can get that done, I will do that one on Friday. Lord willing. We will see. Oh my goodness, yes, can y'all please pray for Northwest North Carolina as well? It's catastrophic up here. Yes, let's please keep our North Carolina family, particularly Asheville, North Carolina. They were hit very hard with this most recent hurricane. I was watching it on the news, and it was actually heartbreaking to witness the amount of flooding and damage that has occurred there. So just mention, those people in your prayers. And if you can donate to any sort of relief efforts, make sure it's legitimate relief. Or if church be the church. If you know a family that was affected, go ahead and just give them the money directly. Like, I'm not big on the Red Cross and all those other auxiliary organizations. I'm like, put the money in the hands of the people, because 9 times out of 10, those people may never see that money. So let's do that. Oh, okay. Oh, but we all lost town. Wow, really? So can you give us some names of some towns that we can mention, Sister Helena? Because I knew I was aware of Asheville, but if there are other municipalities or towns that were deeply affected, I'd love for you to just share those names with us so that we can mention those people in our prayers. In addition to Asheville, that would be really, really nice. I'll just wait for that to come in. Hey, y'all, that's Hollywood right there. That is Hollywood Henry with Ace Productions. He's the one that produced the behind the scenes footage. I will see Henry in the morning. We're going to be working. We're doing screen tests and doing some promo work. And he's flying right back out. So I'll pick you up at the airport, Henry, on time. I promise. I ain't going to leave you there hanging. Just don't show up in no bonnet or no slippers, because then I will drive right past you like I don't know you. But don't do that. I don't think you will. But Samaritan's Purse is in Boone and walking to homes cut off. Oh, wow. Okay, Boone, North Carolina. I know some people in Boone. That is really sad. Yeah, we just mentioned them in your prayers, you guys. Like I said, if you know families. Okay, Ashe County, Mitchell County, Burke County, Cherokee County, Avery, Allegheny, Watauga, Wilkes, the entire Appalachian region of North Carolina and Tennessee. I did not realize Tennessee was adversely affected either. Thank you so much, Sister Helena, for keeping us abreast and up to date with that. I don't have cable, y'all. Y'all have to forgive me. When I was on the road, I got exposed to cable. And I was like, I don't see how y'all sit and just watch TV all day. It's so depressing. But I don't have cable. So if I don't see it on YouTube or if I don't go to these news outlets, a lot of times I don't really know what's happening, to be honest with you. So yes, those are the towns. You see them right there across your screen. Bama gear. Listen, wait a minute. Didn't UGA, did UGA beat Bama or y'all won that game on, was it Saturday? Who won the Alabama UGA game? I watched a little bit of it. Did y'all win? Did Alabama, did the Roll Tide win? Because Georgia was getting spanked for a minute. And then they tried to come back and do something, but I wasn't sure. Okay. Anyway, you can wear your Bama gear. That's fine. You probably still in celebration mode, so that's why you can't come to Georgia wearing Alabama gear. Like, that's sacrilege. Oh, it wasn't synced up? Okay. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you. I don't know what was going on with that. But I love y'all. But Roll Tide. I'm staying out this fight. I am not getting involved at all because I live in Georgia. I am a resident of Georgia, and I am supposed to say go Dogs. But I kind of do like Alabama. But that's all right. Anyway, y'all, until next time, you guys. Y'all, let me just show y'all what I was trying to show y'all. This is what I need to show y'all. Roll Tide, get on up out of here. Listen, I can't participate in the rivalry. I can't. Oh, you missed the game. It was pretty good. I saw some of it. It was pretty good. But will you go to Hell for Me in Raleigh? Y'all take a look. We're gonna have special guests on the panel after the documentary showing. Bishop Patrick Wooden of the Upper Room Church of God in Christ will be in the house. Super excited. Teaming up with the big homie again in another city. The Lord has been so kind and gracious to us to take this message on the road, and I am just glad to be a part of it. Here are the details. The details are October 15th. 6 o'clock is check-in and meet and greet, and it's located at 21 Fenton Main Street in Cary, North Carolina at the Paragon Theater. Super nice spot. And the actual film time, showtime starts at 7:15. So you can go and grab. I have a few tickets left. Once they are gone, I don't want to hear you whining and crying, talking about let me in. No, it's you had a month. You had a month to get your ticket, and you snooze, you lose. The Standardoftruthpodcast.com/events, or just go straight to the Standardoftruthpodcast.com. You will see the graphic right there on the homepage, and just click on it, and it will take you to where you need to go. So yes, other than that, that's it. I'm about to go. Love y'all. Y'all take care. Grace and peace.
The Democratic Party is the evilest organization in the history of the world. Since their inception in 1800, they've been the party of slavery. Then, after slavery, they became the party of the Confederacy. After that, they started killing black people during Jim Crow era. You're voting for a party that tells you they are going to abort children up to the 9th month, castrate little boys and call them little girls, mutilate little girls and cut off their breasts and give them puberty blockers. And you don't think you're gonna be held responsible? As we look at the Democratic Party and the chaos that they've reigned on our community, our young men, our young women, I have to ask you to look at what they've done to us. Look at what they've done to us. Look at what they've done to us. The Democratic Party is a death machine. Wherever they rule, they destroy. That's what they do. They destroy. They decided to try to infiltrate the black community, and they didn't have any success until they met somebody. Who did they meet? Martin Luther King. And this is where we went wrong. He made sure that he brought the black vote to the Democrat Party. They used the black vote to commandeer the most powerful country in the world. He who the Son has freed is free indeed. Once you accept him, you are free. Anybody in the Democratic Party that tells you any different, he's a liar, he's an apostate, he's an affront to God, and he should be rejected by any Christian walking on this earth. And he's inviting you to go to hell with him. Don't go with him. Don't go.